make sure everybody can see this when I supersize it here. So let's see. Whoop, that's not what I want to do. Give me a second. Technical difficulties. We coming at you live today from beautiful Cancun. It's a wonderful day, and we are enjoying the sun and the beauty of Cancun on a trip that we'll talk about. Let me see here if this is going to let me do this. There we go. All right, can you all see that? Max or Grace, unmute and just tell me that you can see my screen. Make me at ease.
Yes, we can see. National
All right, super. All right, so we're really honored today to have the Honorable Mr. Marshall Wayland with us, and he's talking about the advantages of having a full-time assistant. When I saw this was the topic, I couldn't be happier, because the more at times we can get very focused on a topic, and I'll tell you in a minute why this one's so timely. But Marshall, so glad to have you and Tammy with us. Give us a little sneak peek of what you're going to be talking about in a few minutes here.
Absolutely, Brian. Thanks a lot for having me, and definitely this topic has grown my business more than anything in the world by having my own basically personal chief operating officer here on with me as Tammy Williams, because I started with her in this business, and there's something about having your right arm person with you in business, and that's how we've treated this business for years. And she's become not only just the greatest chief operating officer ever, but she's more like my sister. She's definitely my sister from a different mommy and daddy, that's for sure. And I'm really excited about the topic because I'm fired up about it, because I know that's what propelled me into a lot more advantages than a lot of people, simply because I had somebody behind me in my corner that was willing to help me in every way.
Outstanding. Well, great leaders learn how to delegate and elevate. And so one of the things that you're modeling so well for us, as do other leaders in this organization, are getting great people around you. And what you didn't know when you picked this topic is that I am right now in the middle, not even in the middle, towards the end of working on a staffing plan for our agents to effectively have from start to finish, at what point of the business should you hire a particular person? What milestones should you look at a revenue point? And we actually have a quality coach who's an expert in this whole area of staffing and human resources that's going to lead a cohort to really guide people and help people through staffing up their agencies. So it's a great topic, and I'm really thrilled that you're talking about this today. So we'll come back to you and Tammy in just a few minutes after we get through the leaderboards. But again, I'm really happy to be with you all today. Like I said, we're here on a incentive trip in Cancun, and the founders and Mr. Spivey are out and about enjoying a day. We all had a beautiful day together yesterday out on the water, so all the more reason to take advantage of our double production and incentives right now that I'll talk about here in a minute. And it's clear that some of you are in the midst of that now, so that's fantastic. But let me get through this time of just celebration and really commending those of you that have worked so hard. So our top 10 new writers coming in at number 3, Carla Lopez at 5776, Cassandra Mack at 7980, and rolling in at, number 1, Marcus Savage. Now, I have to say that that's probably in contest for like the best name in the company award. We'll come back to Mr. Marcus, I'm sure, at some point. That's a great name, Marcus. Well done, congratulations. Top 10 producers, number 3, Josh Wiles at 25,233. Let's see here, my computer is bugging. All right, Latanya James at 26,503, and Andre Nero at $34,099. And these are week-to-date producer numbers, so it's clear, when number 10 is at 15,000 for the week, you're at a amazing week. And so absolutely incredible job here. Top 10 producers in terms of apps, we got Ashley Richard, Jennifer Giovanni, and I could see my computer is going to just give me fits today. Andre Nero at 25 apps at the top. Top Med Sup, we've got William Berry at 1632. Top 5 disability income producers, we've got coming in at number 3, Sydney Lee. Number 2, Sal Capobianco, love that name as well. And number 1, Robert Byers, excellent week. their top 5 IULs. Number 3, Ryan Cody. Number 2, James Hickman. Number 1, Hallie Walker at $25,221. Outstanding there as well. And top 5 annuity producers, Mark Newbauer. Hey, man, 158. Great job. Gregory Aced, 274,697. And coming in at number 1, Mr. Ryan Gaska, blowing the roof off at 674,474. Top 5 DFL. I feel like I need a Resma energy on this one. We've got David Legge at 6K. We've got Keith Fonseca, DJ Debt Free at 7536, and George White. I think Grace just mentioned George White buying that dream home for his family. 22,405 in debt-free life production this week. That was my grammar school name in Hillsdale, New Jersey, George G. White. So shout out to you, George White. Total recruits, check this out. Top base shop recruits, Ashley and Tyler coming in at 8, Jose Martinez at 9, George and Janet number 1 with 12 recruits. I got to spend some time with them yesterday as well. So good to see George and Janet on site. Top direct recruits, Mr. Sean Shannon tied for 2nd with George and Janet, and Jacob Pogue, who we were at breakfast with yesterday morning. And that's quite a amazing recruit number, 64 recruits. So well done, Mr. Pogue. Licensed recruits, Ashley and Tyler at number 1, Edward Pritchett at number 2, George and Janet at 3. And top direct licensed recruits, Carl Miller, I'm going bottom up this time, at 11 recruits, Scott Mank, the Mank Tank plugging along at 11, and Jacob Pogue with 21. Yeesh. New writers week to date, Gus Villagrand, good to see your name there. John Ziller, who's out leading a golf fundraiser / fun day with the team today. So shout out to the Wild Man. And George and Janet at 5. Top direct new writers, George and Janet at 7. John Ziller at 9, and Mr. Brian Delaney, who's been doing some amazing Facebook posts. If you're listening, BD, very well done. Love gleaning your insight as always. And the SNAs, seasoned new agents. This is our writers who write 6 apps within a 6-week time period. We've got Frank Brenes at 2, Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell at 2, Sam Fine at 2. And top directs, we've got Melissa Weigel, Kevin Purdy, and Kyle and Lisa at 4 for the week. And we just want to acknowledge, welcome all of you, some of you on this call today listening in. So I'm going to go through these names because each of you matter, and we're so thankful for your consistency and your learning the ins and outs of this business and becoming a seasoned new agent. We have Alexandria Johns, Angela Patterson, Antoine Jones, Autumn Fridlika, Brian Dickey, Christian Betancourt, Corey Stacy, Desiree St. Cyr, Jose Ramirez, Kevin Dixon, Hugh San Kim, Libby Himmel, Lorraine Sanchez, Marcus Valderrama, Melissa Pointer, Michael Harper, Nathan Zamaron, Pamela Nolan Sims, Shannon Matzinger, Stacy Brown, Stacy Renner, Stacy Wood, Trey Nichols, and Veronica Riviera Nunez. Outstanding work. We do not take this lightly. We know some of you brand new to the industry, learning all the skills that you need to learn to do this. This is a significant accomplishment. And so we say bravo, well done, as well as to those mentors, agency owners, key leaders that are in parentheses there to pour yourselves tirelessly into activation of agents and into engagement. So very well done. That's an amazing seasoned new agent list. All right, time for these weekly leaderboards. I love seeing the faces on here. We've got Jeremy Fine, Holly Jacobs, and number 1, Latanya James. For agency owners, Mr. Carlton Lear. I was blocking his picture. He was trying to take a nice picture of the ocean here in Cancun. It was funny. I was standing next to Beth Maddox, and I'm like 6'3", and I don't know what Beth's height is, but we were kind of, it was kind of a funny picture. He was trying to get the ocean, and there's Beth and I standing next to each other, and Carlton was slow roasting us, let's say. So good job, Carlton. JPV, got to get a visual on him as well. And number 1 agency owner for the week, Samuel Fine at 57,000. Great job, Sam. Agency directors, we've got Ben Safapur, Brian and Rachel Jernigan, well done, and Larry and Ann Griffin in the house at 120,827. For RADS, Regional Agency Directors, we've got Griff Martin. I like to say Griff Martini. I don't know where I got that from. Trey Alderson-Cloutier. And at number 1, if my computer wants to work, Eileen Baumer. You have just been riding that number 1 RAD spot, I think, for quite a while. I don't remember you being dethroned there. So game on to all you RADs to catch Miss Eileen Baumer. Weekly leaderboards for the managing vice president, Scott Summers, Brad and Kira Gainey, Jordan Hunt in the house with a new little one in the house as well. Very well done there, Mr. Hunt. And at senior vice president, Mr. Nate Offert, who is in an incredible beast mode right now. I've gotten to talk to Nate more than I have ever in the last probably 3 weeks. And his intensity, his passion, his drive, and the way he's leading his people right now is pretty next level. Thankful for you, Nate. We've got Scott Mengtank just plugging along, strategic military precision, and Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell at the top. Executive Vice Presidents, Miss Miranda Martin, Mr. Sean Shannon, and Carl Miller at the top of the heap this week. We've got Ashley and Tyler Harris, Jacob Pogue, and Lynn Watkins at 867,200 for the week. Bravo. Senior partners, Mr. BD, Danny Young, and Edward Pritchett coming in at 982. Mr. Purdy's so happy and smiley and joyful all the time. Got to see him too. And Marshall Wayland, who's with us today on this call, who I want to always pay attention when Mr. Wayland is speaking, topping that $1 million mark as the managing partner for the week. And directs, we've got KP, Edward Pritchett, and Jacob Pogue coming out on top. Top base shops, George and Janet Matthews, Sir Edward Pritchett, and Dan and Diane Elmer. Still good to see you up there again and have you on a call recently to learn from you all and the passion and consistency that you all have developed. I love these slides, the top bonuses. I'm going to get all these up here and just take these numbers in. So these are bonuses on top of the regular activity, if you will, in these agencies. And, as I was preparing for our call today, I was just looking at the number 20s on here all across the board, right? If I'm Eileen Baumer, if I'm Frank Cordaro and Kristen Williams, right at that bottom spot, I am so thankful that I'm getting $1,000, $966, and $808 deposited in my bank account as a bonus, right? So we tend to rise to the top of these bonus lists, which we should, because Marshall got a $142,705 deposit in his bank account as a bonus, right? But I'm also thinking at times we need to look and say, if I'm Eileen, Frank, or Kristen and go on those bottom 5, it's still a really, really good day, right? For all of you that have received bonuses. So congratulations to all of you getting these deposits for your hard work. And we love that our founders have such an incredible vision for sharing the wealth of opportunity, and love to push that down to everyone in the company. So bravo. So there's the totals. Total bonus payout for February at $935,151. So really, really exciting stuff on the bonus scene. Lots of opportunities. If you're just joining us today for the first time, lots of opportunities for everyone at every level to be incentivized and rewarded for the activity that you do. There is nothing worse, I think, in business when the prize and the price are misaligned, right? So when the price that you're paying in your hard work, your sweat equity, your late nights, your early mornings, when the price that you have to pay to be successful in a business doesn't match the prize, so you're doing all this work and then the prize is down here, nothing worse than that. And so one of the things that I love about the company that we get to be a part of here is that the prize and the price match. The work that you put in, there is not another place you could go, another industry you could go where you could have the kind of low overhead to start a true business and see the kind of results and rewards that you get. So you can celebrate that this week, the prize and the price. Make sure those things are in your mind and that we're all grateful for the opportunities in front of us. A couple announcements here. The deadline for accepting level of leadership, LOLs, nominations is approaching. So for April promotions, LOL nominations open Thursday, April 14th. They end Sunday, April 17th. All LOL nominations received after the 17th, dun, 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 will not be qualified or included in the April promotions. So there you have it. Some of you need the pressure of a deadline to deliver your best work, right? So make sure that you make those deadlines. And then a reminder, this is really exciting, double ears for builders during the weeks ending April 1st, that would be this week, and April 8th. So double ears for builders. And if you're a producer, double production towards trips as well. So we'll hit that in a second. Spring tour's coming up, and gosh, I will tell you that it's great to be here in Cancun. It's even better to be here in Cancun with people that we love doing business with and that we love doing life with, right? So relationships matter, people come first. And we're about to actually see this tour launched here. We've got coming to these towns over here, Atlanta on the 13th, Maryland on the 27th, Florida. And by the way, you probably heard Brandon give me a hard time about Florida. I do enjoy going to Orlando with my family. Like we have a once a year pilgrimage to Universal Studios that we make over the winter, kind of defrosting from Michigan. But I'm not like Mr. Orlando. Don't peg me as some, walking around Hogwarts with my robe on, even though you might find me doing that with my daughter. But we're coming to Orlando. I don't know if I'll be in Orlando, but we've got Dallas, Texas, Las Vegas, and Indianapolis. So these are amazing admission-free events where you can recruit people that you're sharing the opportunity with. So highly, highly encourage the attendance at these spring tours. I don't even have to say that because y'all are incredible communicators and recruiters. All right, carrier update. The founders mentioned this last week as well. Starting April 1st, that's Friday, and this is no April Fools. NLG, National Life Group, will no longer be a bonusable carrier, and that's to do with their issue rates being about 20 points lower on average than other carriers. And so because we care about protecting families, because we want to make sure that the business that we write actually gets issued, we want to just make that, again, reminder to all of you that NLG will no longer be a bonusable carrier. And the good news is we've got lots of products and opportunities to sort of make the exchange on what you might offer your clients. So do talk to your upline, to your agency owner, and find out what is it that you can write that would be a comparable product. And I'll tell you too, I spent on the way back, I was on the bus ride yesterday with Max Day going to our destination. On the way back, I was spending a lot of the time as well as a lot of the day with Brian Pope. And the stuff that we have going on for products, we love our quality level term product. There are game-changing products in the pipeline that we're going to be rolling out, which are super exciting. So excited for that. All right. And coming live from a destination, I would turn my computer and show you outside, except I don't have a beach view. I've got like on one side, I've got the water park view, which right now you can just see like the entrance, nothing too fun. And I've got a garden view that way. So I would entice you a little bit, but even more enticing is that producers double production, right? So not only for ears for builders and ears for producers, but also double production for the week ending this week and April 8th. So get on it, stay on it, as Mr. Danny Young likes to say. This is the time to sort of pay that extra price to get that extra prize, right? Making sure the prize and the price align. These are things where in the future, you'll look back and say, gosh, I wish I kind of put it into that sixth gear, if you will, and leveled up a little bit. So really excited for y'all to have that opportunity. Upcoming events. Thursday, March 31st at 11 Eastern, carrier webinar hosted by UHL on point of sale platform overview. So that should be pretty instructive. Monday, April 4th at 12 Eastern, Monday sales training. Stay tuned for more details to come. And Tuesday, April 5th at 11, debt-free living with VP of Advanced Market Solutions, Mr. Mike Resma, which honestly, very few people in our organization bring more energy and momentum than Mr. Mike Resma. So we're excited for you to experience that training as well. All right, so man, being the Lone Ranger on the leaderboards was quite a chore. Hopefully I served y'all well with clarity and being concise. But now I have to tell you, I'm really excited that I get to ask Marshall and Tammy to unveil, because we're gonna enter into our training portion of our national call, which I'm really excited for. And, it's fun because having worked with Marshall, having been invited to some of your events, I've actually gotten to work with Tammy more. So I feel like I know Tammy, even though we've hardly had any conversation, I don't think. And I will tell you that, gosh, having an executive assistant or a COO of your caliber, Tammy, at Marshall's side, first of all, it explains a lot about Marshall's success. And second of all, we get to celebrate you because what you do matters and how you do it matters. And you are efficient, effective, on top of it. And I'm so excited that Marshall picked this topic today, in part because, as I mentioned earlier, staffing is important. And for some people coming into just being business owners, learning how to staff and when to staff and who to pick and how to pick them, it's something that we want everybody to really learn and do a better job with. So Marshall, I'm excited for you to share this. And again, Marshall, we couldn't be, again, more thankful for who you are as a leader. You are, again, modeling our positive culture in probably the most consistent way that we know of, and just your kindness, as well as your business acumen. You are a businessman, but you would never know it, right? You lead so well from the front out of character and competency, but you understand business, you understand how to get things done. And one of the things I really appreciate about you, that in almost every conversation, has been how you know how to focus people's attention onto what they need to be focused on right in front of them. So I've watched you listen to people talk about all the challenges and the problems, and then in your very disarming way, you get them to just the one thing that matters right in front of them. It's a real gift. It's one of your superpowers. I'm not saying it's all of your superpowers, but certainly to see you actually coach people and to see your commitment to people. We've worked together on a couple of projects that you've invited me into. Some maybe not as fun as others that I've gotten pulled into, but I will say this: you have done such a good job really leading all the way through to resolution and then pulling in experts, pulling in other people. So the topic at hand today couldn't be more relevant for everyone listening here. So again, Marshall Wayland, top of the top in our company, so grateful for that, and look forward to what you're about to share with us.
Well, very good. Thank you, Brian. I tell you what, that's a pretty good bring on, that's for sure, buddy. I tell you, I got a big head now. I don't know if I can get back in my house, but I'll give it a whirl anyhow. But I really do appreciate it, Brian. I appreciate this time. I respect this time, and being able to work with you and the rest of the staff at Symmetry is just bar none the best in the world. And I know Grace Webb earlier today on the builder call was saying, one of her biggest objections was, this business looked too good to be true until you get into it. And, for me, that was one of my things. My thing was, it looks too difficult. I mean, it looks too simple to not be able to do. And, back when I started at Symmetry 10 years ago, we really didn't have a whole lot of success to prove that. So, our recruiting and the way we did things was definitely old school, and definitely took a lot longer. And it was a lot more really getting to know what you're good at, and then send out and find other people that are better than you. And I think that's the only thing I may have done good throughout the years, is I simply have found people that are all better than me. And that ends up being a fantastic life and lifestyle for me, Brian. And I appreciate Symmetry, and just, everything I do is always duplicating of Symmetry. It's always been, it's a proven system. So why am I going to try and change it? So I never did, man. It just seemed like, boy, this is the greatest thing, obviously, that I've ever seen in my life. Why am I going to try and change anything? And I was fortunate, 10 years ago, we always had Casey and Brandon that I was being able to go back and talk to and mentor. And I remember one day I was telling Brandon, I said, this is a lot of stuff to do, by myself. I said, I'm not that good at, paperwork. I'm not that good at the admin type stuff. And that was his first question. He says, well, who'd you hire? And I said, well, good. I'm one step ahead of you. I was smart enough to know that I wasn't good at a lot of things. So I had to go find the person that was way smarter than me, way better than being able to put things in organizational shape. And I tell you, it's been the nicest ride I've ever had, is to have the honor to hire my chief operating officer, Miss Tammy Williams. So Tammy, are you on okay right there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I sure can. And I know that this is not your thing. You don't like to be in front of a group of people. So let's just play along here. There's not, 1,500 people on here. It's just me and you here. Okay. Don't worry about a thing. All right. So that was one of my questions, Tammy, is, when we spoke and we got together, matter of fact, let's start from the beginning. How did we get to know each other, and how did we decide to work together?
Well, it's kind of funny. You had a Craigslist ad that I didn't answer. My godmother actually answered it, and she called you and she said, listen, before we waste each other's time, tell me about the job. And as you got more into it, she said, no, absolutely not. This is not for me, but I know somebody. And so she called me up. She says, hey, this is what he's looking for. I was like, I could totally do that. And I sent you my resume. 20 minutes later, you called. I think within the week you had hired me. And you told me exactly what you just said. I hate paperwork. I don't like it. It's not fun for me. And I spend too much time trying to figure out what it is that I'm trying to do here, and not enough time building. And I said, paperwork, I like paperwork. Let me do your paperwork. And so that's where we started at. And I can remember sitting down in the office on the cement floor in Front Royal with these stacks of folders that you just took off your desk and said, this is what I got, fix it. And we did. We sat down, we made our piles, and we fixed it. And we got you moving very quickly to what you're good at, which is building relationships with people. And I was able to take that off of your desk, put it on my desk, and you're able to continue to grow.
And that's, Tammy, that's why you were so important to me during this time frame, because, when Brandon really got down to me and just said, do what you do good and keep repeating it. And, I sat down and started thinking, it's like, I only make money when I am going out protecting families and I'm recruiting families. That's the only way I knew how to make money. All this other minutia, I called it, admin work, was mind-boggling for me, and it was the most frustrating thing I had to attempt to do. And when you came in and took over, it was like such a big relief in my life, because I could get back to the important things of my life, which was building relationships, whether it be protecting families or building relationship with guys that are still with me today that we hired the first year or so. Mm-hmm. And again, I got to give that back to Brandon and Casey, because they kind of broke it down for me many years ago. He says, you're very valuable as an agent. You make about $100 an hour as an agent, as long as you're recruiting and protecting families. Because when you're doing those two characters, when you're doing those two activities, you're making $100 an hour. But everything else that you're doing is like maybe $10 an hour. And he said, well, think about that. He says, if you're out mowing your grass or cleaning your garage, you're doing $10 an hour job. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted that $100 an hour job, right? So that's when, Brandon really got more into it and says, yeah, you've got to delegate things out. And the way I started looking at it is, well, if I make $100 an hour and I'm doing $10 an hour job, then that's the same thing as taking out 4 20s and a $10 bill and just ripping them up and throwing them over my shoulder while I'm mowing grass. So that's when I started thinking, that's the same thing as in business. And that when you came on and we kind of discussed that, it was so nice because you took everything off my plate. You even helped around the house, getting people to come in and do the work. Mm-hmm. And you just eliminated my time. And that was the most valuable thing, is to get more time back. And I know that there's a lot of agents out there that are busy as can be. And I know the first couple of years, 3-4 years, it's a 60, 70-hour work week to be successful sometimes. You've seen it. We've both done it.
Mhm.
And if you're doing that 60-hour week work, you should be doing what you like and what you're good at.
Yep.
And I think that's where we came together as a team. And it was so nice to put our partnership together. And I want to thank you because of the trust you had in me, because, I told you right off the bat, I'm not real sure if this is going to work or not. I said, it looks like it's going to work. Theoretically, it looks like it's going to work, but we've never had really much success. I mean, we've had people paying their bills, but that's about it back then. And I really couldn't afford to pay you a whole lot, could I, at that point?
Mm-mm.
So what kind of deal did I make with you back then to get you to come on and help fix me?
Well, when I started, I was working evenings because I would come in and I would basically clean up from the night before for you, going through everything and get you ready to get back in the field and be there to answer the phone in case you needed something super fast but couldn't get it. So I was working evenings for just above minimum wage at that point. And you told me, you said, listen, it's going to be hard going first because we've got to see if this is going to work. But if you stick with me, you will be able to live the life that you want. And that's where we are now. We both live the lives that we want. And it was hard there for a while. I would go paycheck to paycheck sometimes trying to make sure that the bills are paid. And I know that you were doing the same thing, but we put our heads down, we set our goals, we saw what we wanted, and we just pushed through the hard days. And now we're both have whatever we want in life. Christian and I just spent last year, we were in Hawaii for 9 days and I didn't worry about anything. You didn't worry about anything because it was all covered and you knew that. It wasn't just me having trust in you. You having trust in me was the opposite side of that coin because you had to believe that the work was getting done while you were in the field. You couldn't just walk away. At some point, you just couldn't walk away and just say, okay, this is going to get done, because when it was just you, you knew it wasn't getting done. But when you brought me on, you were able to say, all right, I need to go. I'm going to be gone for these 5 hours. And this is what we have to get done today in order to get paid on Friday. This has to be done. And you knew it was going to be there.
And of course, you made me a little bit better of a salesperson, which again, I was never the top person at this company. That is for sure. I guarantee I was never the top, but I was on there every day. Every week I was on that leaderboard. And that was kind of the deal for you because, whenever you started, I said, I've got to go out and sell one policy a week to pay for you. I said, right now I'm averaging 2 or 3 policies. So I need help with stepping that up. And what you provided for me is not just being able to sell one extra product a week, but it was, ended up being 2, 3, 4 sometimes extra products that I would be able to go out and protect families with, because you eliminated my minutia. Everything else around me, I didn't have to worry about. I had to go out and protect families. So it ended up being better for me, obviously, because you got the stuff done that I didn't like to do. Yeah, you checked pending. You got got these things issued. You took care of the customer at that point. And that was just such a dream for me. And by doing that, I was able to go out and sell 2, 3, 4 more policies a week. And, just the one paid your salary at that point, or even a half of one paid your salary at that point. But that was the advantage I saw almost instantly when you came on board. Now, the long-term goals that we had, you made it even more accessible for me, because that gave me the time to get down and dirty with new agents, to find out who is going to be the top agent in our company, to find out, who's going to be our partners, who believes in the Symmetry system. So you gave me that time and provided me with that chance for us to go out and coach and mentor people and just show them what our system does. And, that was all the way back 10 years ago. My gosh, well, in May will be our 10-year anniversary. Congratulations.
Yay.
I guess you'll probably want a raise. I guess
Sure.
one raise in 10 years is not bad. I might be able to win it. So, oops, I went low battery. Okay. So after that being said, how have your incentives been throughout the year? Because again, I thank you so much for coming in and taking a chance on me, taking a chance on Symmetry. We formed our partnership so that we knew when each other needed each other. And you wouldn't not let me goof off about not going out in sales because that was your income.
Right.
And so it was a win-win. So how do we, a little later down the road, how do we make up for that difference of not paying you very well at first and working you like a dog because you were working 2 jobs at one point? So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually can remember the day you just kind of came downstairs and you just kind of handed me this. I'm like, what is this? And you said, this is your bonus. I was like, my what? You said, yep. And you said, from now on, you set our goals. You said, from now on, when we hit this threshold, you're going to start taking home 1% of anything that the Wayland hierarchy does. And that's been that way for years now. And, there's no more Tammy putting in for vacation time. Tammy basically says, Marshall, Tammy's taking vacation. You're like, okay, whatever, as long as it's coverage, it's fine. And then you'll just call me up and say, hey, I got to go on this trip. You want to go? And if I can work it in, I go with you. I mean, it's fantastic the way that we can just get up and pick up and travel, and we can just go anywhere and do anything as long as there's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because it's a lot of fun when being able to get to travel with you. And I was thinking the other day, this is like my first Symmetry vacation I ever missed, and it was because I have had great times this week. I had a great family obligations that had such a good time. It was my first Monster Jam with my grandson, so I had to do a bunch of things like that. So I did have a blast. But I started thinking, we've almost been on 30 all inclusive paid vacations paid by Symmetry or some of these insurance carriers out there to places I would never go. I mean, I wouldn't pay that much money to go because I guess I'm tight. I don't know, but it was nice to be able to go on all these free vacations. Like those guys are down in Cancun right now, and I know they're living it up. They're having a blast. They're having a great time. It's nice whenever you can bring your spouse or significant other or work partner or whoever, and everything's taken care of. The food tastes better. The drinks are better when it's free. I don't know what it is about it, but it is truly much better when it's free. So, I don't want anybody to ever miss one of those contests. So whenever Symmetry has a contest, put those things on your first part of the block. But
I'll tell you, Marshall, I'll tell you this, Coca-Cola Light is different than Diet Coke. It does taste better, I must say. we ordered Diet Coke and they're like, oh, Coca-Cola Light. I'm like, yeah, that's the one. Give me some Coca-Cola Light. So it does taste quite nice.
And that's nice. They probably put it in your room for you. You get to go pick it up at any time, no charge. Man, life's pretty good for you right now, Brian. You're doing all right, buddy.
I'm very thankful indeed. It was easy to hop off and come and spend time with you. But yeah.
There we go. Well, hey, Tammy, getting back to you, could you maybe discuss, because a lot of people might be on the line that want to know really what are your daily or what are your activities? What was expected of you when we first started? And then nowadays, because nowadays, my gosh, I think we got, I don't know, the numbers of how many agency owners and 120s we have and how many assistants we have that you've helped throughout my hierarchy, which is just amazing. So if you kind of start from the beginning, because let's pretend like there's some new people on here that want to get a personal assistant, a recruiter or admin, or even consider it as a chief operating officer. What's your responsibilities, Tammy?
Well, when I started, it was keep Marshall straight. I mean, that's how we'd find it. Keep Marshall straight, keeping your business moving. And, the thing is a lot of people don't realize is that when we started with Symmetry, Opt was skeletal. I mean, there was no uploading apps into Opt. When you wrote an app, I've manually scrubbed it, and 9 times out of 10, I was calling the client back saying, I can't read what he wrote. What can you clarify this? And then we would get it straight. We would get it scanned in, uploaded to Dropbox, and sent over to corporate. And then hopefully I hadn't missed anything, because if I missed it, then it came back to me and we started that process all over again. And the same process with the new producer packets. But with the new producer packets, they weren't in the correct order. So we would have to reorder them, then scan them in and upload them into a Dropbox. So it was, I mean, there was a lot of actual paperwork at that point. And as we grew, we started adding in lots of other things. I mean, at one point I was doing some recruiting for you a couple hours each day, just to get second interviews on your books. And then we quickly realized that we were growing at an astronomical pace, whereas we couldn't keep that on my plate and continue to grow the way that we were. So we've hired a new agent mentor. We've gone through several until we landed on the one that we currently have, which is fantastic. And then just a lot as we continue to grow, it's become more of, Tammy has moved into more of a supervisory role versus the hands-on day-to-day everything. I mean, at this point, we have, I believe, 10 120s plus you. I believe at last count, it was 70 AOs. And I can confirm 42 administrative assistants throughout the Wayland hierarchy. And each and every single one of those administrative assistants do a variety of things. I mean, recruiting, some of them are recruiting, some of them are doing recruiting and admin work, some are doing strictly administrative work. So it really comes down to what the AO themselves is looking for. And anytime an AO contacts me and says, I need an administrative assistant, that's my very first question. What is it you're wanting? Because it's a very different type of person that you look for as in a recruiter versus an administrative assistant. But my daily activities now, it's still keep Marshall straight, but it's keep Marshall straight plus. I do a little bit of bookkeeping. I do a little bit of, paperwork still. You send, personal things. I still help you with personal stuff as well. Even though you're either in Florida or Georgia, sometimes I can't keep up with where you are. Yesterday, you were between Georgia and Florida. So, it's just, whatever I can help the team do to grow is I'm all in 150%. All they have to do is pick up the phone and say, this is what I need. And that's what I do.
And I think what I love about that, Tammy, is because, but I know that you're not money oriented, but I do know that you want to help every agent on every deal because you get a percentage of that deal. And that puts a happiness to people, and I think if somebody's looking to hire an assistant of any form, I personally think there should always be some sort of commissionable process,
right?
Because you at the end of the month, I know you're always telling me exactly how much the AP was, how much your bonus is, and make sure I put enough money in the account because the bonus is coming out.
That's the point.
I thought that was the point. I didn't know for sure, but that's what it was. But what I'm saying to people out there that may be looking to hire people, how important is the commissionable aspect of it to you?
To me personally, when it first started, it was highly important. And then I had skin in the game. If that business, especially back at the beginning, because everything was still manual, we didn't have these e-apps that were automatically approved right away. If the business sat in opt and wasn't approved by deadline, it didn't get sent to the carrier, which means I didn't get paid on that. And so by putting this commissionable process in front of your assistant, make sure that they have skin in the game. And it's not only going to keep them happy because that little bit of extra is always wonderful, but it makes sure that they understand that what they're doing is important to the team as a whole. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that for your administrative assistant. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do that.
And the beautiful thing is a lot of those admin people that are working in our hierarchy right now, a lot of them are on that same type of production scale, and people are getting paid some pretty nice chunks of money as a chief operating officer for individual people. So I want people to think when they start looking to hire somebody, you may have to make a deal that, the company is this, I'm here right now, but I could use your help here. And if you do, that'll lighten up that time for me here so I can go out and make bigger money so that we can all cherish and the money down the road. And I think that's now what's so beautiful. Of course, it's taken us 10 years. Back then it was antiquated, but now we're seeing agents come up through the system and getting new assistants fairly quickly into their career. And could you tell maybe a couple examples of agency owners in our organization that never had an agency person to help like you, and all of a sudden they got one, and how did their business go after that effect?
Well, I can think of one just right off the bat. About 18 months ago, she came to me and she said that she needed an assistant. And so, of course, my very first question is, what does that mean to you? What does an assistant look like to you? And we went through what she needed. And she says, okay, but I need help finding this person. And so we did. Myself and another one of our 120 admins helped her find this person. And so in those past 18 months, she's broken out another AO in her team. Her production has continued to grow. This first quarter alone, she's submitted over 500,000 her team has, with an issue of over 300,000 just for January and February. And her team is consistently on our hierarchy recruiting leaderboards consistently. And if you talk to her, you'll find that she attributes a lot of that to her assistant, because her assistant allows her that extra time that took off the mundane things, the minutia that most people don't like to do, and gave her back that space where she could recruit and she could produce and she could do the things that she needed to do in order to grow her business.
Well, you might as well. You talked a lot about her. Who was it? I don't even know who you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Dana Else. She was able to do that. Sorry about that. I thought I said her name.
That's sorry, but Dana is phenomenal agency director of ours, and just moving up the ladder. And I know that, now that you told me who it was, I know that she values her assistants so much, and I can just see when she got the assistant, how it helped her in every way. Personally, gave her more time to be herself, be with her daughter, and then to see her business just skyrocket ever since. It always baffles me why an agency owner, or even somebody even lower, doesn't have an assistant. To me, I think that if you're like a key leader and you're ready to go into an agency owner position, and Symmetry's ready to give you your business, your legacy, I think everybody should have an assistant at that point, of somehow, some matter, some way, because none of us are good at everything. You got to, that's what Brandon and Casey always told me. I guess they figured out that I wasn't good at anything, but they figured out that I needed to hire good people. But and they have done the same, but they're pretty good at stuff. So they're a little bit different ballpark than me. But the thing is like, I see all these agency owners hiring somebody, and then all of a sudden their business skyrockets. So it surprises me as to why it takes people long times to finally realize that they need some help. Because this is a crazy business. And if you treat it as a business, you don't see McDonald's going in with one person working behind the counter. They need help when a new McDonald's owner comes in. Same as Subway, same as any successful business out there. You need help. You need to find somebody that's better at things than you are at particular things. And at that point, everybody's having fun. And then it's not a job. People don't leave things that are fun, and people that don't leave people, commission people will pick up and leave all the time if they're just looking for a job. But the beautiful thing about Symmetry is people don't leave people. They'll leave a job sometimes, and some people make mistakes. But if you treat people with respect and you find out what they're good at and let them excel, life is going to be great for both of you, for everybody involved. And that's what I think is key when everybody's out there starting to look for an assistant. I know Brian Williams is going to have a program specifically on who to hire, how to hire, and so forth. But that was so important to me to have a person like you come on board that was just like-minded and believed in me and believed in the Symmetry system. You know, I think that when you came on board, you know, I had you do research on Symmetry so that you'd understand the culture and who we are. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that people can do when they're hiring people is let them know exactly what type of culture is here. Mm-hmm. Let them know who you are. Let them know what you expect, and let them know that we're gonna do this as a marriage. That once I stop doing what I tell you I'm gonna do, you can divorce me because you can go get another job. Or if you stop doing what you're doing and what I expect of you, then I'm going to have to divorce you and you'll have to get another job again. So, and the same way I would too. But that's what I just want to make that point to people, that when you're hiring people, even people that are coming in as agents, make sure you're hiring people that you like and that you want to go out to dinner with. And I think that's as simple as we can make it at that, Tam.
I think so. I mean, yeah. if the core values that you yourself live up to and that Symmetry itself has were not such as they are, I would not still be here. I mean, I'm very integrity driven person. I mean, I want to feel respected, and I'm going to give you respect. I don't care if you're the CEO of the company or if you just walked in on day one, you're going to get the same amount of respect. And if that had not been a core value of not only Marshall Wayland, but also of Symmetry, I'd have walked away. I mean, my background is such that I could walk into almost any facility and get a job. Yes, it would be a job, it would be a shift work, and it would be probably minimum wage, maybe $10 an hour. It would not afford me the lifestyle I have now. But when we did the research on Symmetry, finding out that they are an integrity driven company, I was like, I'm in, I'm all in, I'm here. And as long as it continues to stay integrity driven, then I'm here. And as long as you don't let me get bored, which you haven't let me do yet. So.
Well, I promise you that you'd never get bored around me in this business.
This is true.
So last thing here, and we'll jump off for today. How's your life changed from 10 years ago? Explain what's going on in your life now, how, you know, what you've been able to do financially, knowing that you don't have to worry about finances because, you know, again, you're part of my family. My kids know you. You are family, and you're in my will and trust and everything else. So how has your life changed, Tammy?
Well, I went from working shift work to at the point that we met, I was working 12-hour shifts for a very crazy lady. And I went from doing that, from living paycheck to paycheck, pretty much paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes it was like paycheck to every other paycheck we were living. To now, I don't worry about anything. I don't even know what my electric bill was last month because it's auto pay and it just came out. I mean, and like I said, you know, I think I told you, Christian and I spent 9 days in Hawaii last year, 9 days. And I didn't worry about, okay, when I get back, I'm going to have to put in all this extra time to make up this money. I mean, we just went and we had a blast and we didn't worry about anything. Christian kept going, are you allowed to swipe that card? I was like, this card's fine, dude, just leave it alone. It's cool. And we're making plans I haven't made any plans for this year because I'm not quite sure what's going on this year, but I'm making plans with a friend next year to be headed out, you know, out west to go to Montana and do these other things. So, I mean, it's changed the way that we sleep at night. We don't sleep with the worry anymore that, is this going to be okay? Is tomorrow's my job going to be there? Are they going to downsize? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? Because it's not going to happen. First of all, I'm not going to let you downsize. And it's just not who we are. We're in a business where people can achieve the dreams that they set, provided that they do the work that's needed.
Couldn't have been better said to end this call, Tammy. Thank you so much. I love you to death. And Brian, I'm going to throw it back to you, my friend.
Well, thank you both. And always the most practical insights we could pull out, Marshall, from you. I mean, every leader hits a ceiling. And when we hit a ceiling, we need to learn how to delegate and elevate. And I think you just mapped out so many good principles. I mean, very simple principles of just, number one, like, what are you not good at, and find that person. Make sure that their values fit with the culture. Make sure that you are that the prize and the price line up, right? That the incentives line up. And I have seen a lot of the comments in the chat about the details of how do you structure the staffing package? How do you, where's the commissions coming from? And again, the good news is that we're going to be providing you some resources and details there. So super excited for what's coming. And again, Tammy, all the best to you as you continue to lead. You've gotten mad props in the chat from lots of people that think you're the best, and we know that you're the best. So we're thankful for you. And Marshall, thanks for your investment. And to everyone else, have a great rest of your day in Symmetry Nation.